In a cold, dimly lit courtroom, a 19-year-old girl stood before her judges, facing accusations of heresy, witchcraft, and insubordination. She had led armies to victory, changed the course of a war, and defied kings and generals alike. And now, she was alone, betrayed, and on trial for her life. Her name was Joan of Arc. How did a peasant girl from a small village rise to command the armies of France? And why did the very people she fought for abandon her to the flames? Today, we uncover the incredible rise and tragic fall of one of history's most enigmatic figures. Joan's story is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in the humble village of Domremy, she grew up in a world torn apart by the 100 Years' War, a brutal conflict between England and France that had lasted for nearly a century. The French were losing, their king Charles VII was in exile, and hope was slipping away. But Joan, a teenage girl with no military training, claimed she had been sent by God to save France. She heard voices, she said. They belonged to saints who had given her a divine mission to lead the French army, drive out the English, and see Charles crowned king in Reims. It was an outrageous claim, and yet against all odds, she convinced the desperate French court to listen. Joan's first real test came at Orléans, a city under siege by the English. For months, the French had been unable to break through. Then Joan arrived. She rode into battle wearing shining armor, carrying a banner instead of a sword, rallying troops who had been on the brink of surrender. And within days the siege was broken. Her victories didn't stop there. At Jargeau, she led an assault against the English, storming their defenses and forcing them into retreat. She fought at Patay, where her forces shattered the English army, capturing key commanders and proving that the long-feared English archers were not invincible. And then the march to Reims, where she cleared the path for Charles VII's coronation, fulfilling the mission she had claimed was divinely ordained. But success breeds enemies, and not everyone saw her as a savior. Powerful figures in the French court, envious of her influence, began to distance themselves from her. The church was uneasy about a young woman claiming divine visions, and even Charles, the king she had fought for, was quick to abandon her when she was captured by the enemy. Betrayed, Joan was handed over to the English and put on trial in Rouen. It wasn't a trial for justice, it was a trial for destruction. The English needed her dead, and they manipulated church officials to make it happen. For months she was interrogated, accused of sorcery, cross-dressed to maintain her modesty in a prison full of men, and forced to defend herself against a panel of hostile judges. They demanded that she deny her visions, admit she had been deceived, and submit to their authority. But Joan refused. Her final stand came in May of 1431. Condemned as a heretic, she was led to the marketplace of Rouen, tied to a wooden stake, and burned alive. Witnesses say she did not scream, and as the flames consumed her, she called out only one name, Jesus. But her story didn't end there. 25 years later, a new trial was held. This time, the church declared her innocent, recognizing that her first trial had been a sham, and in 1920, centuries after her death, she was canonized as a saint. Joan of Arc remains one of history's greatest enigmas, a warrior, a visionary, a martyr. Some call her a saint, others a fanatic, but one thing is certain, her name will never be forgotten. So what do you think? Was Joan truly guided by divine visions, or was she simply a brilliant strategist with unshakable conviction? Let me know in the comments. And if you love legendary figures who defied fate, be sure to check out my other videos. This has been Legends Reimagined. See you in the next story.